Now, the Bank of England and the European Central Bank are both meeting today for their decisions on interest rates. We don't expect those to change. In fact, we don't expect any change. But Natascha Gewaltig is here to talk to us about what we might expect. She's chief economist for Europe at Action Economics. Thanks, Natascha, for joining us. So let's start with the ECB. What are we gonna hear from them today?
Well, I don't think we're going to hear that much in terms of rates. I mean, they already made pretty clear that there's not going to be a rate hike in the offing anytime very soon. They already announced their next exit steps at the last meeting, so I don't think there's going to be that much.
Now, how heavily is Greece going to be weighing on the minds there? Because Greece, the situation there has really prevented them from moving towards the exit.
Well, I mean, they started with very small exit steps already, but I think what the press conference today is going to focus on is on the new collateral rules. I think in between we got this announcement that they're probably going to, or that they're going to accept a non-investment grade beyond the end of this year. So that will open Greece more of a window just in case there is going to be another downgrade.
So they've done this. They've changed their collateral rules to help Greece. But people are saying that it could actually end up hurting Greece. Can you explain that for us?
Well, the thing is, I mean, before, what would happen was that they are, if Greece gets another downgrade, the risk was that Greek debt wouldn't be no longer eligible for collateral and for the ECB's refinancing operation. They now announced that they're going to accept non-investment grade beyond the end of this year, but with a spread that is not with the same interest rate at now.
So in other words, Greek borrowing costs are going to be high for the foreseeable.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what do you think? I mean, is Greece going to default?
I don't think that really is going to happen. I don't think that Europe will allow that to happen. I mean, in the end, they will have to orchestrate some sort of bailout. In fact, they already agreed to a bailout. But of course, you know, the problem is that in Europe, nothing ever happens very smoothly and quietly.
What's holding them back, Europe, from doing more? I mean, is it the elections in Germany and the domestic pressure there?
I mean, the elections may play a role in terms of public perception, and you know, the idea of a carte blanche bailout is something that's not very popular with the electorate. But at the same time, there is a moral hazard issue, and I think especially the ECB and Germany are very cautious of the fact that if they hand out now unlimited amounts of cash to Greece, there will be other countries in the waiting for the next handout, and that ultimately is not a solution. You need to keep the pressure on Greece and other countries to get their act together and implement reforms.
Let's switch gears and talk about the BOE. This is the last meeting before the May 6th election. What are the MPC going to be debating? We know we're not expecting them to do much on interest rates or on QE, but what are they going to be talking about?
Well, as you just said, I don't think there's going to be much in terms of the BE within the next, months, really. We don't expect them to hike interest rates until Q4, if that, and we don't expect a change in the asset purchase target. I think the only issue probably markets will be looking at, or MPC members will also be looking at, is the inflation. There has been some sort of debt issues in the UK as well. That is something markets have been focusing on.
Now, Mervyn King, the governor of the Bank of England, has been talking about the budget deficit. He's been vocal about it for some time now, for a year now. He's been warning about it. How much of a concern is the UK budget deficit, which is on a par with Greece's, to the Monetary Policy Committee, and how does that impact their decisions? I
mean, that is obviously a very big concern. The problem is the MPC can't do very much about it, apart from being very vocal and trying to get politicians to rein it in. If you have a too expansionary fiscal policy, then in theory, if you want to prevent inflation, you need to have higher interest rates, which is what they don't want either. So that definitely is a problem. But I mean, it's clear it all hinges now on the election, and before that, nothing is going to happen. I mean, what is better in the UK than in Greece is the fact that the debt ratio is much lower. So the UK is in a much better position than Greece to deal with this.
How much of a worry will it be if we do get a hung parliament and therefore we have a delay before we get a clear roadmap on how Britain's going to cut its deficit?
Yeah, I think you can see in the markets that they are very concerned about it. Each time polls come out that show there's going to be a hung parliament, you see pressure. And I think that is, especially for markets, that is very much a concern, because you just markets need to be able to predict what's going to happen. And if you have a hung parliament, that's not going to happen for some time.
Natascha Gewaltig, Chief Economist for Europe at Action Economics. Thanks so much for joining us.